Focus Forward is partnering with schools of the Diocese of Lexington to present the first Focus Forward conference, which will be held on the first Saturday in November.
Yeah, the conference is designed to give resources to parents and teachers of students with ADHD or learning disabilities. Joining us now is Tyler Dorsey, an ADHD life coach and owner of Focus Forward, to tell us all about the details. Thanks for being with us, Tyler.
Thank you guys for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about Focus Forward just as an organization before we jump into the details of the conference.
Absolutely. So I'm an ADHD or turned ADHD life coach. Born here in Lexington. I went to Christ the King, went to Lexington Catholic, struggled in school. And when I graduated, I was like, I want to help others who have ADHD and struggle. So Focus Forward was born. And now I help kids, parents, adults, everyone with ADHD find their path forward, whether it's working with a coach, navigating a care plan, whatever you need so you can set yourself up to thrive with ADHD.
Tyler, there is so much discussion, I think, from an ADHD standpoint about two things. Number one is diagnosis, and number two, treatment. And we've all heard stories about people that are on ADHD medication, and they may not need to be on HDAD medication. So how do you, in what you do, how do you kind of bridge the gap there?
So ADHD medication is a tool in the toolbox.
Yep.
Diagnosis is another, I'm going to say a more crucial tool, because sometimes when we're diagnosed, it can pull out other things we may have going on. It's kind of like getting a map of your brain is what I like to say.
Sure.
So when you're going to get diagnosed, they're going to look at everything, not just ADHD. So we're going to be able to know if something else is going on. But the medication piece is a tool. It's a tool I used for a little while. I was that hyperactive, bouncing off the wall kid. I was also, my brain would not be quiet. And so it was a tool that I used until I learned the skills. And off and on, I've been on medication for 8 years, but when I say off and on, I've maybe taken it a handful of times, because I've built my toolbox up to where I don't have to rely on it. And it's not everyone's path, but a lot of people don't want to have to rely on medication for their lifetime. And that's a big piece of what we do at Focus Forward is how can we work with your provider and your doctor and yourself to create a toolbox so that maybe medication can be a conversation that we can come off of one day.
Yeah, you're really giving people the resources. It's just not one answer on how to deal with ADHD. Now, when it comes to the conference, what can people expect?
An amazing time. So the goal in putting the conference together, I work with Dr. Kyle Lee, who's the superintendent for the Diocese of Lexington. And our goal when we put it together was provide this support and resource and answers for parents. So they can expect to come in to learn about some phenomenal speakers and resources that we have, learn more about learning differences, ADHD, anxiety, emotional regulation, and then get some answers that they want. Like, we want you to come to the conference and leave with a plan of action saying, this is what I can do to get support for myself, my student, and if you're a teacher, for my students and how to help them in the classroom.
So how can people find out about this conference and get registered?
You come hang out on my website, focusforwardadhd.com/conference.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Tyler, for what you're doing and being able to share your resources and your experience with the community.
Thank you for having me.